This is Sherry. Okay, so I'm coming at you for Angel's Whisper. I am at my daughter's house because she's going to Disneyland for her anniversary. So happy anniversary, Lacey and Jacob. And I'm here to stay with my daughter's gazillion animals. She's like her mom. She's got bearded dragon. She's got a chameleon. She's got dogs. She's got a kid. She's got a rabbit. She's got all kinds of animal totems for us to work on. So I figured this would be a really good day to use the animal totems that we have. So I'm going to walk you through this house and we're going to do this. I'm going to get my grandson. Hold on. This is kind of funny. Hey, ready? Come show them. Okay, so the first animal totem that we're going to talk to, this is Chewy. This is Chewy. He's a lion head bunny. Come here, Chew. Hi.
Hey,
so
Chewy.
Rabbits, this is Trey. So, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay, so, and Ollie and Loki. Okay, so the lion head bunny. So for a rabbit, clearly it's about fertility and creativity and new beginnings. That's the first thing. We've got our dogs here, which is talking about loyalty and faithfulness and unconditional love and friendship. And we've got here, I'm going to get Trey. This is the bearded dragon. This is Jamarcus. Go ahead. He's going to get the bearded dragon out and tell us about this, his message. Actually, bearded dragon, their message is going to be about, this is going to be all over the place, I know, but it's kind of different. The bearded dragon is lizard, right? It's a lizard. So to me, the lizards are talking about dream time. They talk about trusting your psychic abilities. They're very sensitive to vibration. Careful. Ooh. Bearded dragon. Hi, Jamarcus. How cool is he? So they're very sensitive to sound. They've got really, really incredible hearing and vibration. So it talks about being in touch with your psychic abilities and trusting them. Also, with lizards, he won't jump, will he?
No, not unless you hold him.
Okay, well maybe you should put it back in the cage. I don't want Mommy mad at us. So with lizards, so dream time. Pay attention to your dreams. They're important. Pay attention to your psychic abilities and trust the abilities that you have. Also, when you think about a lizard, they have the ability to, if there's danger, they can leave their tail behind, which means it's talking to you about there's a possibility of things having to move quickly and leave something behind. So that's a message as well. And then we have a chameleon totem. So chameleon totems, we'll show you. This is Peg Leg Pete. Let's see where we can find him. Can you find him in here? There he is. He's right there on the wall. He's gotten big. Okay, so see his little right leg? He's missing a leg. So it talks about, you know what? Don't let challenges get in your way. You can still move forward. He's actually very adaptable. So it talks about being adaptable. That's his little message. But for chameleons, it talks about, you can see that they blend in with the coloring around them. The temperature, their body changes different colors, and when they're angry, their body changes different colors. So it talks about, have you been blending in too much? See his little leggy? That he doesn't even have that little, but he still uses that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So using all of your abilities. Yep. He's able to use it. So it's about using all of your abilities. That's his, and persevere despite challenges. Anyway, so for chameleons, it's talking about, have you been blending in a little bit too much? Maybe it's time for you to show your colors, because chameleons will come out and show their colors. That's good, Trey. That's all I needed to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
later. Okay. So we've gotten trust in our abilities, trust in our intuitive guidance that we get. What do we get? We got new beginnings. We got creativity. We got listen to your dreams. We got the dogs, loyalty, friendship, unconditional love, steadfastness. These are qualities that we want to be thinking about. We got a lot of totems. When I came in today, the reason I figured I'd use the animals here today for our messengers is because when I came in, I saw lizards on the wall, big lizards on the wall, and bearded dragon, lizard, chameleon, they're all lizard totems. So the message to me originally was, hold on to your dreams and pay attention to your dreams. But also you think about that, about leaving the tail behind. I hadn't thought about that before with lizard totem, about there's a possibility. Be prepared for any be prepared for anything to happen, and there is a possibility that you might be having to leave something behind. But it also talks about you might be leaving something in the past, because the cards that we're going to be using today, where should I sit? I think I'll sit in front of the Bearded Dragons, because this is kind of cool to look at, and I'll let you look at them instead of me. So first of all, Trey picked out the cards that we're going to use. So we're going to be using the Angel Tarot. We're going to be using the Archangel Power Tarot. We're going to be using the Romance Angels, and he thought that this looked magical. So we're going to be using Angel Answers, just a small message from those. Okay, so I can let you check out Jamarcus. Let's give you guys something to look at till I get everything organized here. Jamarcus, Pegleg Pete. Janice is her other, Janice Jenkins is the other chameleon outside. Chewy, the lion-head lizard. Chewbacca is his name. And Ollie and Loki for the dogs. Anyway, this place is a zoo. Okay, so our first message that we're going to be getting, I'm going to put it up here so you can, oh, that's a good way to do it, right on. Okay, so we get the Dreamer, and I hope that I'm showing you guys this clearly. How do I do this so you get a better view? You can see this guy, and he's going through like what looks like to me like a vortex. And in the vortex, he's going from like one world into another. So it talks about exploring new possibilities, following dreams. Because, you know, dream time, we've been talking a lot about lizards. And so there's a lot about dreams. I knew that animal totems would be appropriate. How funny. So in this picture, I don't know if you can see it up close, there's a unicorn in here. So that talks about making wishes and believing in magic. So it's about, you know, believing in yourself. A leap of faith. There's butterflies, which talks about things are shifting and changing and transforming in your life. I see right down here a crane, and there's a crane up here as well, which represents standing on your own, the ability to stand on your own 2 feet. The dog here is your faithful companion, so it talks about, to me, it talks about being, we have, spirit is always with us, we're never alone. And so with the Dreamer, here he is going through this new vortex, and there's an angel behind him. See, he's never alone. There's unconditional love and loyalty and faithfulness, and help is always with him. He's always by his side, and Spirit's always with us, and got our back is what they're showing right there. So this is about a time, you're entering a new phase of your life, right? You're going from this phase into another, and he's about to take a step forward. So that talks about leaps of faith, and by taking just one step forward, Spirit will come and rise to us and help us. So whatever direction we're thinking of going, if there's whatever necessary steps that you need to take, it's time to have faith and commitment to the dreams that you have. Something in you know, it's an exciting new thing. I mean, clearly this is excitement. If you're about to step through a vortex, it's like a whole new world, a whole new, everything open up to opportunities. It says, follow your dreams, unexpected opportunities. So we've left the past behind. A phase of our life is now completed, and now we're coming into this new exciting chapter of our life. And it's calling for faith and commitment to our dreams, because when we're doing something that's different and new, it can be daunting. So they're saying, you know, follow your dreams and realize that you're never going to be alone. You're always going to have Spirit with you behind your back. And they're saying that they want you to listen to your intuition, you know, because your dream time, you're thinking about things that you've been getting messages and your intuitive nudges that are telling you which direction to go. So they're talking about pay attention to what you're getting, and be open to information from others, but don't allow what other people say to get in your way and stall your moving forward, because maybe sometimes other people will feel, I don't know, they'll feel a little bit less, what's the word? They don't have as much confidence in what you have or what you've seen, or perhaps people haven't seen what Spirit's been bringing you. So they're saying, do be open to people and their information, and open to ideas from other people, open to guidance that you get. So it's like, you know, always remain open to Spirit and to others as well, but it's you that needs to make the final decision about what you want, and moving forward. What else? I would think that because he's going through into something that he's not familiar with, He hasn't done this before. This is a whole new life. This is a whole new. It's kind of like Spirit's not telling us what's going on. I'm getting that a lot right now. I know that this is a whole time of new beginnings and things moving forward, and a lot of changes. We've been getting the wheel moving forward. But as far as getting details about what's actually coming, I'm literally getting that we're not telling you. So it's kind of, that's why they're asking us to take a leap of faith. It's about just be prepared for every opportunity, be excited, and be open to what Spirit is going to bring us, because clearly it's going to be whatever's in our highest good. So if we're going to be going into a new phase of our life and we don't really know what's going on, this is about embracing ourselves, and like we got with the lizard totem, be prepared for any alternatives, be prepared for any possibilities, be prepared to move quickly. There is a possibility that you may have to leave stuff behind. Like you might be moving, you might be getting a job offer and you're going to have to move, or you're going to get some kind of an offer possibly, and it's going to be about, moving from where you are, packing things up, leaving something behind, and which means maybe leaving people behind, and maybe it's just an old way of life that you're leaving behind. Maybe it's ideas and thought patterns, that you've had before that you're going to leave behind. So they're asking, that's why we got that message, that totem, is because that's a possibility of something that might be happening. Okay, so that's good for that message. I'll leave that there. And then the next one we get is going to be, I'll let you look at my background. He's very cool, very, very cool. Is the star, which is really super cool because we got this last night. On my page, I put this for our message to dream on, and we got it in reverse, which and I left the message for us there. But here now today we've got the star upright. So basically, this is a time, like I said, it's new beginnings. The star, and again, they're asking for you to have great faith and hope. They're saying that whatever plans that you have or thoughts that you've been having, this is a time to look at it with optimism and excitement. This is like they're saying when you look at this, it's a star to wish upon. I say to you, make a wish. It's what you want to have come true, and it's about trusting and being optimistic. So they're saying whatever ideas that you've had or whatever inspirations that you had, this is like an affirmative sign that you can be confident about this and be excited about this and moving forward. And if there's any challenges that you have been experiencing, they're saying that it's going to be a time for these to fall away. It's a time to wish upon a star. It's a time, as you see here, she's pouring out 2 cisterns of water. So she's abundance, she's flowing. Water is emotion, but she's pouring it forward to you. So it's like positive, happy times. The star to wish upon, make a wish, take a leap of faith, to going with our other one, the first one, the dreamer, taking a leap. So they're saying this is the end of the difficult situation. It's time to believe in yourself. Things are starting to move forward, and the difficult stuff is going to start falling away. And this is a time for you to be excited. So I think I'm going to leave that. We've got 4 different messages that Trey picked for us. So the next one we have, oh no, that was the dreamer. Okay, so we got the dreamer, we got the star, we have, romance angels. He chose the romance angels. Okay, so this is talking to us about loving yourself first. Okay. So it's talking about your self-respect making you more attractive. So there's a lot that comes to this. What comes to me first, because my daughter was getting ready to go to Disneyland today, and she looked adorable. And her outfit was all done. She's ready to walk out the door. And she asked us about 17 times if she looked okay. Did I look okay? She was very nervous all of a sudden. And, I don't want to go if this doesn't look right. And I thought, she's a beautiful girl. And I have insecurities too. So it's talking about, you need to really love yourself and have confidence in yourself. And it isn't just about what you look like. It's about who you are. Go out there and have a good time. Enjoy your life. Don't get so hung up on the way you look. Don't get so hung up on what other people think of you. It's about what you think of yourself. It's about having self-respect and love for yourself. And the more that you can have this self-love, the more you are able to see love coming back to you in the world. You mirror what you mirror, you bring back, right? What you send out, you bring back. So the confidence and love that you are able to exhibit and send out to yourself will be felt by other people, and they'll feel, I don't know, it's kind of like it's like you're an example to people, you know, and it's not talking about being stuck up or conceited. It's just talking about having confidence, and it's like a lighter energy. It's a lighter vibration. It's a happy, positive vibration. So that's what they're talking about first. It also talks about, love yourself first. So if you're confident, then maybe you're supposed to be assertive. Maybe they're asking you for a situation in your life. Maybe it's a time for you to become a little bit more, to assert your independence. Because think about our other cards. We've got the Dreamer, moving forward, right? Leaps of faith. We've got Wish upon a Star. This is about, your whole new life, or your whole, being confident and having trust and faith in your abilities and what you can do and what you can bring into your life and what's coming to you. So if you're confident and you're loving yourself, you'll be able to do that, right? You'll be able to hold that kind of a position. It also talks about loving yourself enough to hold up proper boundaries with other people. Don't be a doormat. It also talks about respecting other people's boundaries. It's a give and take situation. It also could talk about a time of reflection, a time of being alone, where you can look at yourself and think about, like, since this is a romance card, relationships are what people are thinking about. So they're saying that as you love yourself, you become more attractive. So to another person, it isn't very attractive to somebody if you're insecure and you're constantly seeking approval. If you're hanging on their every word, if you don't have a life of your own, if you're not moving forward on your own path because everything is about the other person, so that's not very attractive. So they're basically saying get moving on your own life, your own path, and recognize. And if you are in a relationship, that makes you more attractive to your partner. But if you're not in a relationship and you're looking for a relationship, then it's talking about maybe examining how things have been in the past in relationships with you, and the lessons that you might have learned from things that have happened. You can think about patterns in your life, patterns of your love life, how things went. Since we have a new beginning, we're moving forward. The wheel's moving forward. We've got the star to wish upon, the new beginnings. We've got the leap of faith that we're taking. So if this is in regards to relationships, maybe this is a time that we can look back to the past. And take responsibility for how things were in relationships, how we were doing things, and maybe how we have changed our opinion and changed our view on how we're going to do things now. So it's because it's new beginnings time. So it could be you can do this within a relationship, you can do this before a relationship, you can do this preparing for a relationship, or you can just be doing this for yourself, loving yourself. It doesn't have to do anything with somebody else. But it is a good time to check and see where you were. What have you grown from? What has made you, what have you grown stronger in? What have you been able to let go of? What have you been able to bring forward so that you can share in a relationship with another, or just others, or as an example to others? All the lessons in the past that we've come to this, that have brought us to this place. Everything in our past, our experiences, have brought us to the place that we are in right now. So it's a time of reflection as well. It's also, let's see, it's about understanding that everything happens for a reason, which we have to tell ourselves that all the time. Everything happens for a reason. Everything that we've gone through, good, bad, or the ugly, positive, they're always about lessons or blessings. It isn't mistakes or punishments. It's lessons or blessings. So everything that we have done, everything that we've been through, don't beat yourself up for things that you possibly have that you have chosen to do differently, because now you're moving ahead. Now you've got a whole new way of looking at things. Now you've taken a look at the past. You've recognized things that you would do differently. Sometimes you look back and you get embarrassed. I look back and go, oh my God! It's like I had a dream. And it literally showed me a review of 2 years of my life. And I watched, as I went through this whole 2 years, how I behaved. And it was in regards to somebody in my life. And I watched this dream, and I grew up in the dream in front of me. And I was so embarrassed I saw things that I did. I saw things that I said. I was insecure at certain times. This light's doing weird things. I was insecure, and I would do and say strange things, or I would, as we learn new things, like with me, as this spiritual path that I've been on, path of ascension. I have prophetic dreams, and I have many different gifts, but I didn't have them all right away, and I didn't have them all working at the top gear. I didn't have them to the place where they are now, and I'm still not. We're constantly, every day, we're moving forward, and we're learning more and learning how to work with the gifts that we have. But I had these prophetic dreams, and I was warned by the man in my life. He says to me, is a prophetic dream. He says, is it happening now? That's how you know it's a prophetic dream. Is it occurring right now? And that was my message that I should have picked up on, because some of my dreams were symbolic and some of them were prophetic. Most of them were prophetic, so I would get a little confused. And so I looked back in as I was watching this dream, which was a review dream for me, and it was basically Spirit showing me, how far I've come. And I recognized that I didn't have to share my dreams, everything with this other person, even though they were in the dreams, it was about them. It was really kind of like I was learning that it was the messages that I was getting, and so this is a message to you. We may get messages that remind us, this is about somebody else in our life, or we know this is for somebody else in our life. But it's not for us to tell them what to do. It's not for us to fix them and make things work better for them and guide them along the way. Those dreams are being given to us. If we're getting them in dreams, which is what I was getting in dreams, that was given to me so that I could understand a situation, so that I could be compassionate, so that I could be understand what the other person was going through. It wasn't about me telling the other person how to live their life or what to do and how to work things. But I didn't understand that. I thought I was being given these things so that I could tell, because I'm a teacher, right? So for me, this is, if I were to have dreams like that, or if I get messages like this is a forum or an arena to teach. Right? If you're teaching, or if somebody were to come to you, or if your partner or your friend or whatever were to ask you, what do I do in this situation? Or and you had been given some information in a dream or a message or whatever, then you can share it. But in my dream, I was clearly being shown that, you don't always have to tell what you're getting. Sometimes it's good to keep your secrets to yourself. Sometimes we're given a little bit of a glimpse ahead. And those of us who are intuitive, I know there's a lot of you now on my page that are also intuitives, and so you know what I'm talking about. We get a look ahead, like a clue, which is what we're getting right now. A lot of the times when we have these readings, these things haven't happened yet. Sometimes they're not going to happen for a few weeks. Sometimes we're in the midst of it. Sometimes it doesn't happen particularly to you. It might be for somebody else in your life, which is what was happening to me. I was seeing dreams that affected somebody else. So it's about, store the information, keep it there. So the messages that you get, keep the messages there, store it, so that you can be helpful to somebody if they come to you. Or so that you can understand what they're going through, so that you can be compassionate and you can be long-suffering, or you can be unconditionally loving or understanding, so you don't take offense to somebody, their behavior. That was another thing that's coming up for this, because we were talking the other day about when somebody did something to somebody, and it was not cool. And I said, when you think about that, I said, anytime somebody says something like that or does something like that, that's fear. If they don't understand something, when people don't understand something, they're afraid. Sometimes they can get mean. Sometimes they can say things that are unkind. Or sometimes when people are hurting themselves, they lash out. It's kind of like, that old saying, they hurt the ones you love. It's almost because they feel safe with you, so they're able to express this fear that they have. So where did that come from? What is it? What is that telling me? So that when you get these messages, so say one of these messages that we got today didn't apply to you, but it applied to your husband, or it applied to your best friend. So if this person is in a situation and you've gotten information, or you've gotten a dream, because sometimes I'll dream the night before, and it won't be for me, it'll be for someone else. They're showing me, look, this is what's going on in their life. So if they behave in a manner that's not something that they would normally do, you are shown that so that you can understand. Not so that you can fix it, not so that you can tell them what to do, because we all have our own path. Everybody has challenges that they have to go through. And that's really difficult for me as somebody who gets a prophetic dream, and I get a vision ahead of time about what somebody's going to be going through. I want to help. and you want to help the ones you love, and I've had people, I just had somebody the other day calling the other night, and well, do you think maybe I should tell him this, just if I do the little tough love thing, maybe it'll make him move forward on it. And I said, don't. I did things like that, and it doesn't help you, and it actually might damage your relationship. It also might scare people, but because they have their own path, and they have to make their own choices and their own decisions. So no, it's not your place. And sometimes people have to struggle. Sometimes I went through, I embarrassed myself. I looked back at this prophetic dream that I watched, and I watched myself as it was like I was going from the beginning of high school until graduation. And do you remember what it was like being a freshman? You go into the school and you don't know anything. It's exciting, but it's kind of like, you feel intimidated because, you're an underclassman and these people have been there for a while. And you could totally tell the difference between people who have been there a while and the ones who are just new. You feel a little bit ostracized, a little bit. I had people really nice to me, but I remember that feeling. So in this dream, that's how I felt. And I watched myself, and I sat there like this going, oh my God. In my dream, I watched myself going, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? But then as I went on a little further, how I understood it a little bit in a different way. And then I looked partway through the dream, which was like maybe a year into this review, and I saw how in the past I would have done it this way, but now I would never do that now. Why did I do that then? Ugh. And now I can see by looking at this review, wow, now I can see how it affected them and why they behaved that way. And so that's why with us, with this message about looking back, love yourself first, or because we're moving forward. But before you can move forward, you kind of have to have a positive review of the past. And so you can see now maybe in this, how you've done things in the past and why what you did caused this to happen and caused this person to behave in this manner. Every choice that we make, every decision we make, every action, every reaction, every response causes a ripple effect. So I was able to see, looking back, I couldn't do anything about it. It's done, but that's where I'm saying to you, it's not a mistake. It was lessons. And I wrote and I said, to a couple of my friends, this awakening process was really difficult for me, and I'm sorry, but I guess it had to be for you too, because you had to grow up with me as I went through these changes, and that's why I teach, and that's why I do this page, and why I work with people so much, because I'm trying to help people learn from my mistakes. And sometimes we don't have to learn from our own mistakes. Sometimes we can look at somebody else's example, and we can kind of like fast forward and skip through it. That's how the crystal children, I'm an indigo child, so the crystal children that are coming up behind us now, I'm working with a couple of incredibly gifted children. They channel. The little boy's not even 4 years old, and he channels people, and to him it's just normal. He doesn't even know what he's doing, but he's clearly channeling. And the other one is able to remote view. He's 14. He's able to remote view, and I can't even remote view. And you may not even know what that is. Look it up. It's intriguing. Person in my life knows how to do that, and I wish that I had that gift. But my job as a teacher is to help people learn to work with the gifts that they have. And I think that a lot of the challenges that I've been through in my life are because I've been through a lot in my life. A lot of us have, but I've been through crazy stuff. And I look back at it now, and looking in that dream in review, I've recognized that a lot of the things that I went through are so that I can explain to others what they went through. I didn't have really anybody to talk to as I was going through this awakening process. I didn't have anybody to go to and say, why is this happening, or why am I feeling this? And this one teenager, when he was talking to me, he said, I just, it's weird. And, I woke up and I was like looking at my body, and I was out of my body. And I said, that's amazing that you can leave your body. That's a gift. And instead of being afraid of that, you need to learn how to work with it and practice with it and embrace it. The more you practice, your gifts, like even with me, when I start my readings, every single week when I start these readings, I'm nervous. I feel like, what if I'm not going to remember something? What if I forget? It's something about this camera being turned on instantly makes me feel nervous. And like with him, it's practice. So as I get rolling, then I get more comfortable. So I said to him, go in a meditative state, and then I'll show you a picture. I gave him a picture, and I said, look at this picture, and then now see if you can't go to that place. And so he wrote to me, and he says, I literally was just in the room walking around. I did it. So it's like he was practicing. But before that, he was scared. It made him scared that this was happening. And I said, you don't have to be afraid of it. I spoke to his father on the phone, and his father said that, he was concerned about these kids, because he's got these two children that are incredibly gifted, and it's not something that he understands. And like I said, when you don't understand something, sometimes it's frightening, and my own family is frightened. My daughter said, "Mom, don't you think that that's kind of creepy?" And I said, "No, I think it's amazing. I would love to be able to remote view. I would love to be able to leave my body. If I was having a dental procedure or an operation that I'm freaked out, I'd like to just let it hang out there for a while and go somewhere else that's peaceful. I would love to be able to do that. And these are real gifts. These aren't weird. Just because maybe you don't understand this and you haven't experienced it doesn't mean that it isn't real. We are powerful spiritual creatures. Before we come to this place where we're living, we were practicing and trying to learn how to be human. We're spirit creatures learning a human existence, and now we're reawakening and we're remembering our spiritual gifts. So when I didn't remember again until I was, it's been about 7 years that it started to slowly waken up. But really the last 4 years is when it really started to speed up for me. And I went my whole life not having these gifts. I pushed them away and I hid them. So this planet needs light workers. This planet needs love. This planet needs for us to be connected to our gifts and to understand how that we can telepathically communicate with one another. I know how to do that now. I can communicate with somebody through music. That's how we've made an agreement. He said, "Listen to me through the songs. I'll speak to you through the songs. So I'll ask a question and I'll get it through music." And many of us can, do other things. Like when I was younger, my grandmother, the phone would ring and she would say, I'd answer the phone and she'd say, "Are you okay?" And I'd say, "Actually," and I would tell her something that was going on. And she had connected to me. She was psychically, telepathically connecting, because we're all connected. We are all one. And so when these children have these gifts that they're working with, they need to understand that they're not freaks. They need to understand that there's nothing wrong with them. They need to understand that this isn't something to be afraid of or ashamed of. They need to know that they can speak to other spiritual people that understand this, so that they can develop their gifts at younger ages, so that they can go their whole lives. Because think about it, if I had my whole life to practice the gifts that I've had, how much better I would be at helping and teaching other people. Because this is my path, to teach and to help, right? I would be able to explain and work through these things with these boys, what they're going through. I understand what they're dealing with, but I haven't been able to do that. So if they are able to learn from young ages, remember who they are. I believe that soon it will be, because the little one's 3.5. Soon it will be that they will be born to from spirit, right, into a human body. They will be born and they will be taught from their childhood, because they'll be with a family that understands this. Everyone's supposed to be awakening and remembering who we are, so that when they are born and they wake up and they start having these gifts as a child, like I did when I was a little girl. I spoke a completely different language as a little girl. It was either a star language or a language of the forest. I remember it. I remember one word. Don't remember any other stuff. I pushed it all away. I've talked to you guys about this before. This little boy, he speaks the language. He said words that I recognize. So if I had the ability to speak that language my whole life, I would be able to communicate with animals. I could be an animal communicator and help them. I do heal animals anyway. I work with them. But if I could completely understand them the way I did when I was a child, how much more powerful my gifts would be. So these children that are waking up earlier, and maybe hopefully being born remembering, just like when I was a little girl, it comes naturally, like this little boy, it comes to him naturally to channel. It comes to him naturally. If you ask him a question about somebody, he's connected, he just speaks like it just comes out like it's natural conversation. It's natural for him. He's just a little one, and clearly he's closer to spirit than we are. He hasn't had any of life's challenges or negatives or fears mucking up and gunking up what he has got naturally from spirit. He's just come from spirit. He's just little. So he's pure. I mean, what I get from a child who channels is I trust that like I trust my dreams. I would listen to a child channel more than I would an adult, because there's nothing. No, they're not trying to please you. They're not trying to. They don't have to worry about separating what's going on in their own life from it. It just comes naturally. So I kind of went off on a tangent here, but I'm doing that because I know that I've got people that are watching. that have gifts that they're afraid of. I know that there are young ones that have gifts that they're afraid of. And I know that there's adults that are remembering their gifts that they are nervous about. Gifts that they had to hide because people didn't understand it and they were scared. I have had friends, I wasn't told that I was crazy. I wasn't told that what I was doing was wrong. I just knew they didn't understand it, and so I didn't share it with other people. By the time I was 11 or 12, I lost it, which is really a shame. I would kill to have that language back. I want it back. So I'm hoping that with working with this little boy, maybe he'll help me remember, because like I said, I remember some of those words. But if he doesn't have to go through that, I have friends who were told that there was something wrong with them, that they had ADHD or they were bipolar and they were put on medication. There are people that think that they have schizophrenia because they hear voices, and that's what this boy was talking to me about. And I said, there's nothing wrong with you. You are so highly intelligent. You are so connected to spirit. It's a blessing and it's a gift. Don't be afraid of it. So I'm going off on this little tangent here that has nothing to do with the rest of the cards for those people that are watching that may be pushing away the fact that they're reawakening. Because when you go reawaken, there are challenges. And a lot of times people don't want to do the work because people in their family may not understand. Their friends may think it's strange. And it's important that when you are embracing your gifts, that you do surround yourself with people that are spiritual, who do understand, that you can talk to freely. I don't have a problem anymore. I don't care. I'm an Aries. We're pretty outspoken, and I just talk like this to anybody. I mean, if I see an animal totem and it looks like it's trying to make itself known to somebody and it's a really cool message, I'll just go up to them and tell them. And I don't generally get anything but positive feedback, but I did, when I do talk about a child that channels, like I said, my daughter's like, Mom, don't you think that's kind of scary? And I said, no, it's not demonic. It's not negative energy. It's positive. It's just the fact that they are connecting with where they just came from. They're connecting to their higher self and their spirit. And they're helping. It's about helping other people. A lot of times when these little ones are channeling, like the mother was talking, she was concerned. She says, I feel like I should clear and shield and, protect him. I don't want anything, any negative energy coming in because he's so young and he doesn't know about protecting himself. And, I said, that's true. You can ask Archangel Michael to shield him. But clearly, what you need to understand is even though he is a child, he is a powerful spiritual being. We all are. Just because he's in a child's body doesn't mean he's not a spirit creature. He is. And so she also is a woman who channels, and she pushed it away because like I said, there were challenges and it made her uncomfortable, and she tried to block it out. And I know a lot of people who try and block it out. Because it's like voices in their head. They block it out and they think that there's something wrong with it. What they need to do, instead of learning to drug it down or block it out or push it away, is to learn how to work with it. Work through meditation, get into a peaceful state. If you don't want, you need to learn that you can discuss things with spirit. You don't have to be an open channel. So like the little ones, they need to be taught that, like I say, I am only open to the highest order of love and light. And I am not an open channel. I've made that very clear to spirit. I've had spirit show up in my house. I've seen, I don't want to scare anybody because it's not scary, but I've literally seen energy coming from, antique pieces. And at first, and I wasn't frightened. It was really strange because I watched it and I knew what to do. So I'm going to tell you here. This is what these children need to learn. This is what adults need to learn. You do not have to be an open channel. I had another friend as well. Said, she called me crying. She was very upset. And she said that there was a ghost standing in front of her. And I said, what do you mean? What do you see? Because I don't see things like that. And she said, she was crying. And she said, she's in front of me and she's burned and she's angry and I don't know what to do. And she was frightened. And I said, okay, well, think about this. She was in an accident. She's died. She doesn't know what's happened. So think about, she's angry because she doesn't know what's happened and she's afraid. So if there was somebody that was hurt and lost, what would you do? You would guide them. You would give them directions how to get where they're needing to go, right? So I said, just look at her and say, look, you've been in an accident. You have died and you need to go to the light. When you see the light, you need to go into the light. That's safe for you. That's where you need to go. And she said she did that and she left. They're not here to torment you, as people say, ghosts and ghouls and goblins and, and demons. And it's not like that. If somebody gets stuck over, because it happens suddenly and they don't understand, or there's maybe emotional reasons that they don't want to leave here, so they're kind of like stuck in this place. There are people that work with that, mediums that work with that, and they literally just need guidance to help them to get to where they're going. So, so I said to her, I don't have that kind of energy. I get messages through prophetic dreams. I get messages, I get very, very, through songs. I mean, I do have a lot of different ways that spirit comes to me, and I have seen things like that, but I made it very clear that I was not an open channel, just like on your television. I will decide when you can work with me and when you cannot. So these children need to be taught, and you as adults that remember your gifts, you can speak to spirit. You are spirit as well. You're very powerful. They're not more powerful than you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is really false evidence appearing real. That's what fear is. We are just as powerful. So you say, I'm not an open channel. I'm willing to work with you in my dream time, or I'm willing to work with you at this time. I don't want you just appearing, whenever. I don't want you just coming into my head. So these children who have these thoughts running through their heads, like the teenager said to me, I've got these thoughts, and they're not my thoughts. I know they're not my thoughts. It's like I'm watching. And I said, well, then you need to tell them, you know what, I'm not an open channel. You can't just go running through my head. They need to learn how to organize things. And that's what I do. That's what I teach. And that's why I'm saying this right now, because there's so many of you who need to hear this and understand that it's not a scary thing. It sounds scary when you don't understand it. And I suppose to me, it did when it all started happening to me too. But I'm not frightened by it. I think it's awesome. It opens up a whole new world. It opens up the spirit world. It opens us up to being able to talk to ones that aren't in our physical presence. I talk to the one I love all the time. He's not with me. He sings. He talks to me through music. I can hear him. I'll ask questions and like I said, my grandmother, I mean, you can talk to your family members. Another example, my friend said, my Uncle Phil, when I was back in Wisconsin, he wrote me right when I got back, and he said something about fireflies. He was sitting with a friend, and he said to the friend, this reminds me of, his wife died 2 years ago, Linda, and he says, this reminds me of a trip that Linda and I went on, and there were fireflies everywhere. And he says, do you ever see fireflies anymore? I don't see them. And he said, right then, the sky just lit up with fireflies. He goes, what was the message? And I said, it was Linda. It was a message. She's there with you. You can talk to her. You can talk to spirit. We have that ability. We all have that ability. You don't have to be, highly gifted to speak with the ones who are no longer with you or who are not in your physical presence. And I tell people, if there are people in your lives that are going through challenges that you're separated from, you can talk to them in your heart. You can tell them, I love you. I'm supporting you. I see you completely surrounded in love and light. And I'm proud of you, and I know that you can do this, and I know everything's working out great for you, and have faith in yourself because I have faith in you. Things like that. Now, with Uncle Phil, he was missing Linda, and he said, do you ever see fireflies? And he hadn't seen them in years. He said, since then, 2 years. And all of a sudden, the sky lights up with fireflies right then. That is not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. I don't believe in them. I don't. And I said to him, it was Linda talking to you. So if you want to talk to her, talk to her. Ask her a question. If you want to talk to your grandmother, if you want to talk to... Think about that. When somebody in your life dies, or when somebody was not in your physical presence, I miss the man that I love. I miss him. He's not in my physical presence right now. But I can speak to him. No matter if I never saw him again, I could still speak to him. I could still ask questions, show yourself to me. And I will get, specific messages that know that this is the person showing themselves to me. With Uncle Phil, he could say to Linda, I've been really missing you, because it's not them that's suffering, the ones that have gone. It's not them that are suffering. It's the ones that are left behind, right? So if you have somebody in your life that's gone or overseas or traveling away and you're lonely or you miss them, somebody that's passed away, and an animal that you missed, a lot of us have pets. I miss my cats, and I talk to them. Now I'm going to get emotional because, see, I know he's not suffering. Tiki and Babes, I know they're not suffering. But I'm suffering because I miss them, and that's the human aspect of me. So I can talk, and your spirit animals always stay with you. So he's probably around me right now. So why I'm crying, this is the human part of me. I'm sorry to do this. How funny. They must be close to me.
But look, and I get very emotional with my animals because it's just recent. Look at my nose is getting all red. But clearly you must feel this way for people in your life. Think about if a spouse has died, like Uncle Phil. He misses Linda, so he can talk to her and tell her he loves her and ask her to, come with me here and look at these, show me some fireflies and wish upon a shooting star with me. We can do things like that. That's why I do this. So I'm going to leave that on this emotional note. And thanks for always bearing with me when I do this. When I go off on these little tangents. Like I said, when I first start recording these readings, I'm always nervous because I don't think I know what I'm going to have to say. And then all of the stuff starts channeling down to me. I do use oracle cards. I use these cards for, as a tool. It's kind of like a carpenter knows how to build, but he has to use certain tools to get the certain effect, right? So I'll look at this and I'll see a picture. And it'll give me thoughts. And then all of a sudden, things start moving. It's just kind of a way... and I really don't need them. I know that. I could just sit here and talk to you guys and give you messages that I get, but it's about learning to trust in my own gifts as well. And because I've had people ask me that as well, oh, you use oracle cards, you don't really hear spirit, I hear spirit in different ways. I don't hear voices in my head often. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll get a sentence. Like I said, my prophetic dreams and the sentences that I get, I trust the most. And then children who channel, I trust them. My messages, of course, I agree. I mean, these to me are confirmation of everything that I've been getting, and songs that I've been getting, which I do trust music because music is a big medium for me as well. But this is one thing. Before I go, here I go off again. I work online on Keen and on a psychic hotline, and I don't prefer doing it. I prefer doing this. And I'm not paid for this. I prefer one-on-one reading. So if you do want a reading, I love this. I'm a teacher. I have so much knowledge, and I have so much that spirit channels down to me. I'm very, very confident in my gifts and my abilities, and I want to teach, and I want to show you people not to be afraid of this, and I want to show you how you can communicate with spirit. So this is what I've been doing lately on Keen too. I have this, I have all these customers, return customers, and they call all the time. And I said, you don't need to call in. It's funny because that's what pays my bills. But I said, you don't need to constantly call in and ask me all the time. You can talk to spirit too. I have the radio. I don't have it going right now because I wanted to hear what spirit was springing down specifically about this and concentrate with you guys. But I generally have music going in the background because I do get messages. I do have it normally running quietly in the background. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to see if something comes. But what I say to these people is, if you have a specific message to ask somebody in your life, ask them and then say to spirit, I'm open to the guidance that you bring me. Okay, I got a message just now. That's a personal one, but it's a good one. So if you have a message or a question, like I said, you can talk to spirit, somebody specifically from somewhere else, somebody that's not in your physical presence. Show yourself to me. How are you feeling today? What's going on? What are you going through? What can I do for you? What do you need from me energetically? And then turn on the radio and listen to the songs that come. They are so specific because songs, think about the lyrics in songs. Spirit uses songs as a way to give messages. And people used to say to me, oh, country songs have messages, always have messages. Every song has a message. Every bumper sticker has a message. Every license plate has a message. Every book, every movie. There are messages that we're getting 24/7 from Spirit constantly. So I ask specific questions and then I turn on the radio and I listen for some specific answers, and then I know what I can either energetically send to them or physically, in person, what I can do for them, what they need from me. I can, like I said, understand more how to behave myself because I understand what they're going through, right? And if you can do this with someone who's alive, you can do this with someone who's passed. If you have a challenge in your life that you're trying to figure out how to work something through, should I go this way or should I go that way? Should I ask this question? Is it appropriate for me to do this now or should I wait? I can use oracle cards, but you don't have to do that. You can just ask that to Spirit. Say, I'm asking for your direction.
And then turn on the radio, or pay attention to the signs as you drive by on the road, or license plates. I think I've told you guys before, when I was in Wisconsin, I was told I was going to be going to Sedona. This is before I moved to Sedona. And I was going to be learning more about my shamanic gifts with the, the animal totems that I work with. That's like my favorite thing, right? Besides the music messages and my dreams. But I thought that I was supposed to go take a class with a shamanic teacher. And it was a very expensive class, and I didn't have a lot of money, and, Spirit was having me move from one state to another, and but I really felt like I was supposed to learn, more about the animal messengers. I didn't have a lot of knowledge about it. I knew I had that gift as a child. I had that connection. So I knew that I was supposed to learn more, and I knew that was the direction I wanted to go. So I was trying to decide, I had one day to sign up for this class, and I was going to Sedona the next day, and I thought, man, I'm riding my bike around Wisconsin, and I thought, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this. $850 to join this class, and that's going to really, cut into my, if I end up staying there, where am I going to live? And I had, fear, which is another stupid thing, because I shouldn't have worried about it, because if I did choose to take that class, I would have somehow managed it. Spirit would have brought it to me. But my question was, do I take this class? Yes or no? And I thought in my head as I was driving around Otumba Park, I remember just exactly when it happened, I thought to myself, man, $850 is a lot of money to spend. And a car drove right in front of me right then, and it said on the license plate, don't spend it. DNT, spend it. Don't spend it. And I went, okay. Didn't take the course. I got to Sedona. My friend Joseph Whitewolf picked me up. We talked about it, and he said, Sherry, I'm a shaman. I'll teach you all that stuff for free. I'll take you around all those places for free. So that would have been $850 that I would have spent, but I chose to trust so that's another message too. When you ask and you get messages from Spirit, or you get an intuitive voice in your head or a nudge, trust it. The more you trust the intuitive messages that you get and the messages that Spirit brings you, the more they're going to bring them to you, because it's all about teaching you to learn to trust your connection to Spirit. That's why if you don't trust what you get, you're going to get it less and less, because they're trying to teach you. It's light. They're trying to teach you to remember who you are, remember your gifts. And like we said, for the very first card that I got, right, it said trust in your intuitive abilities. Oh no, that was about the chameleon and the lizard, the dreams. Trusting in your dreams, trusting in your intuitive gifts, trusting in the guidance that you get from Spirit. The more you trust in it, the more it's going to come to you. So that's it. I am absolutely, truly going to stop now, because we're almost an hour at this reading. So that's it. If you guys would like to have a reading, I'm on www.thewhispersofangels.com. I'm on Angels Whisper Sherry Columbus and Sherry Columbus Angels Whisper on Facebook. I'm on YouTube under Sherry Columbus. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Keen, Sherry Columbus. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you've been able to listen to this entire thing. It's I should put a disclaimer up. Very long reading. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll speak again soon. Have a very wonderful Sunday, and blessings.